Morning, everyone. Welcome back to Biblio Fitness. Hope everyone's had a great day and made some glorious gains. Today was my first week back, my first leg session back from my deload. Feels great. I've been doing a lot of those ankle curls, with weights and trying to like progressively overload on them, and it's honestly helped out a lot. Especially with my left ankle, I was dealing with a lot of issues. Like I wasn't able to get full depth because my ankle was hurting, and I no longer have that pain. The knees over toes guy really brought that up, and I'm grateful that my gym has that little contraption for the ankles, and it's helped out a lot because the leg press, for some reason, the fucking screw is not there, so it's a little bit levitated, which is fine for me, whatever. I just usually go all the way down so I can get full depth. And when I try to get full depth before, my ankle will start hurting or my heel will start rising because that's a lack of ankle mobility, of course. But as I've implemented that into my leg training, into my lower sessions, I basically superset that with my calves, might as well get both of them out of the way at once. Calves is a little taxing, but they're both of them are fine, and it's just more of a time efficiency kind of thing. And it's helped out tremendously. Like now, even with the seat slightly more elevated or inclined, I can actually still get very, very, very close to the bottom of the bottom, and not not be lifting up my back, not lifting, or my heel lifting, or any of those precarious things to be transpiring. So that's awesome. I actually beat by one rep. It's crazy how strong my legs are, but not in relative to the rest of my body. But aside from that nonsense, I did want to continue to discuss Stirner, of course. This is honestly, the ego is, I don't know how many times I've already said this, but it's the most revolutionary book I've ever read. The central focus on these ideas that continue to possess us through all time. It's really amazing. Who looks at it that way? Who looks at ideas as such that way? Nietzsche does bring that up, but Stirner really hammers into it, the whole concept of even liberals and communists and being that possessed, the analogies or the framing that he uses resonates a lot deeper, I suppose. The fact that we are possessed, like we're a bunch of lunatics, is an adequate description, especially of modern society. I feel like it's even more adequate now. A bunch of crazy people, it's like a madhouse. People running around with their moral judgments and their absolute morals and saying that there's such a thing as that, and say, no, this is the right thing, no, this is the right thing. And you have people debating from all religions and all manners of life, which is obviously good. Obviously discourse is required in order to continue to progress, but we really are at a point where we are nothing but possessed by ideas. We never really look at reality for what it is. And as we continue to go on this trek of civilization, if you want to call it that, we become more and more separated. And what I was reading recently by Stirner was the critique of liberalism and this focus on this concept of man and what it is to be a man, and how when we interact with other people, we never really take into consideration the qualities that make this person unique. When we look at an individual and when we judge or when we engage, is like a lot of the times we're like, okay, but how are you fitting into this concept of man? Because what you do, your proclivities, your actions behind is a private affair and is of no concern to me. The only thing that is a concern to the liberal is whether you fit into the mold that is being pushed by the powers that be at the moment. And we really do focus so much on man. Now there is no escape from running away from the ideal, because everybody has a human spirit, right? It's now no longer like a Christianity that there was a sons of God, but there were also sons of the devil, those who did not accept God as their Lord and Master. Were considered sons of the devil. So it wasn't a universal encompassing. It wasn't universal in its acceptance of all humans. So this liberalism really is a continuation of that. It is a natural progression. Right now, nobody can escape the ideal. It comes to the point where, look, he made the example of Frederick the Great, right? Like, he was this humanist monarchist, but he gave no fucks about what you practiced, what religions you did, because those were considered private affairs now. Those were considered private ordeals as long as you were a good human being. And this now new universal concept, it didn't matter what you prayed to. It kind of, you could see it from there how it superseded religion. And, it is also a continual depreciation of me as an individual, right? Because we must sacrifice that for the sake of this promise that what we're doing and us following the rules or us following these disciplines, we bring on a better world. We are going to bring about a more peaceful world, a utopia, a world of man, a world for a perfect world for the perfect man. Bringing heaven down onto earth, right? Promises that will never be fulfilled. Even the ideal as such of man, And that's the thing that really Nietzsche also, but Stirner obviously really brings it into light is, we have really switched what it is real and what is fake, right? The real world, the material world is the fake, right? This is the cave, as Plato's analogy describes. And, the forms are what we really need to look at. Those are the things that really matter. The things behind it, the things in and themselves, the spirits behind all these things. So those concepts of what it is real has been reversed. And if that is the case, because none of us have ever reached the ideal man. None of us have ever been this man, the perfect man. And this dualism is always going to leave us in a state of disappointment. It's like the Christian, right? To be this ideal Christian. No one is ever going to be an ideal Christian. We're all going to be poor sinners. That means that we have never been real, because none of us have ever achieved our true selves. Who has ever been a true man? Who has ever been a true Christian? Who has ever been a true human being? Then we are nothing but spooks now. We are nothing but ghosts, that pathetic creatures that can never realize our true selves, because we're still attached to so much of our instincts and so much of our natural inclinations that we now look at with disgust and scorn. And that's why we always leave disappointed, and we're never complacent. And Stern always comes back as like, okay, so how do we overcome this? And it's like bringing God, or bringing this man from the heavens and putting it back onto me. Not having these ideals as such possess me, but these qualities being part of me. Being a man is a part of me, not I am this man. It's not my identity. It is just a quality. And he puts up an amazing metaphor, well, not metaphor, comparison that, it's just like, we're being married for our possessions, for our qualities, not for me as such, because what makes me an individual doesn't matter. What people care about is how much are you fitting into this mold that we somehow agreed upon. This ideal, how close are you to this ideal? That's what matters. That's what people marry you for. That's what people involve you into this humanism for. That's what people involve you in society for. How are you fitting into this? It's not for who you are. It's how obedient you are to this ideal, how disciplined you are to this ideal. And these are amazing fucking observations, man. Like, especially now, bro, like, the more that time passes, the more sissified we become, the more cowardly and meek we get, and not wanting to deal with reality, and not wanting to deal with the nature of things, because nature is in error. We know more than nature. We know more than the world. We are divinely inspired, and we all have the truth, and we're all divine children. And all these ideas have given us this false sense of confidence, really. And it's just, to be able to separate oneself from these ideas is becoming increasingly more difficult, especially with the advent of something like a social media where we're all held accountable to these ideas. When we like a celebrity, when we like a person, or whatever the case may be, we always think of the idea of our fantasy of these individuals. We never take into account what private affairs they're going through or anything like that. We think these in this way very, very instinctually at this point. We always look at the things behind the thing in and of itself, and we're just left with a hollow world, a hollow shell of a world, and we ourselves are hollow. It's amazing, man. He even talks about the relativism of it all. Because I've been watching, like I've been listening to streams, especially about the Protestant Reformation. It's like, yeah, at the end of the day, you really have to take into account that every single fucking idea serves somebody. Why did Protestantism take off? Is like, I'm pretty sure a lot of these princes, especially in Germany, wanted an excuse to rid of themselves of the Pope, of the church. The fact that the church had so many holdings, so much property in Germany, they wanted to take that away from them. They no longer wanted to be connected to an institution that blessed them with a position, instead of saying, hey, I'm going to cut this motherfucker off. I'm directly connected to God, therefore I don't need you. We don't need to respect you anymore. There's always a political reason as to why people engage in these sort of philosophical rhetorics or religious reforms, as they call. That may seem absolutely cynical, but that's the truth. There's always a reason that people do these things. And it's not for the betterment of the world. It's not for the benefit of their subjects, even though they never think about their subjects. They only think about what's beneficial for them, right? Which is everybody and their mama, really. So, I can't wait to read more, man. I'm slumping out here. I just did legs, obviously. So, it's just, I hope anybody that gets a chance to read this really does. It really does attack the fact that, it makes you think, like, how possessed am I? Really, how many of these ideas have I transposed upon myself, and I feel inadequate because I'll never reach these ideas. I'll never become this ideal, this spook, this man above me. Instead of making that man divine, just being happy with who I am and trying to progress and not having an identity because I'm continuously overcoming it. And that's the point of criticism, right? And he makes a beautiful point that the natural progression of religion is criticism. And that's something else that Nietzsche has talked about, right? This continuously seeking out of the truth, which is criticism, is eventually going to lead to the point where you're going to realize, oh shit, my religion is false, because you're going to turning in on itself. And that's why that's why nihilism has come about, because more people have started to realize, like, wait, religion doesn't make sense, it's not real, and I can no longer abide by it anymore. I can no longer hold myself into this mold of Christianity anymore. And there's people that say, without God, we have no direction, we have no purpose of morality, which I think is absolutely absurd. But, that's the topic for next time. I'll leave y'all with that. I do hope y'all make some beautiful gains. I'm going to take a little bit of a siesta before I head into work. And, before I work, I need to go study. So, take a little bit of a rest my eyes. Even though I'm not going to sleep because I'm jacked off pre-workout, of course. But, it is what it is. Love y'all. Hope y'all make some amazing gains. And until next time, guys. Peace.